The security forces are also a sector of society that is being engaged as consultations are underway in the constitutional reform exercise being carried out by the People's Constitution Commission. Today, presentations were made to members of the Belize Defense Force who also had the privilege to express their concerns as it relates to how they are defined.
Some of the questions that were raised were about who we are. Are we public servants? Are we security servants? Because that is the feeling that we have, that when convenient we are treated as public servants, and in other matters when convenient we are security servants. And that comes when finance is implicated or perhaps financial benefits. We in the military get that push around.
Brigadier General Azaria Loria says that there are policies guiding the B.D.F. that they want to ensure do not infringe on the constitutional rights of soldiers.
I don't know if it's a tendency now of our soldiers marking themselves with tattoos, which we do mind now because they are placing those tattoos in areas that are not concealed, i.e. their necks, on their necks, and to some extent their faces and head. So those are the things that we were explained, that once we join as public servants, security servants in the military, we are somewhat restricted as long as it is reasonable enough for those restrictions to be put in place. So we are drafting a paper when it comes to a tattoo policy in the Belize Defense Force, because it's starting to get out of hand, and we want to ensure that we are not infringing in any way the Constitution and their constitutional rights when it comes to freedoms and liberties.
What we have come to realize is that while the population may not be able to tell you about a constitutional issue, they can tell you what their problems are. Thankfully, we had Major Oliveira, who was able to translate some of those problems into constitutional issues. What he highlighted was the need to strengthen the Security Services Commission or reconsider its formulation and appointment processes to have it work better for the people of Belize. We had some very interesting contributions about the health care, the well-being of officers of the military as it relates to access to housing and land, and not being able to get insurance and that sort of thing when they are high-risk individuals.
Now, through these sessions, the Commission is simply recording the concerns and suggestions being made by these interest groups. A report will then be made and submitted to the Cabinet. Vice Chairperson of the People's Constitution Commission, Glenfield Dennison, says that the process is about building democracy and safeguarding the future of Belize.
We have a discussion that's full and frank about where we are and how that relates to our country and international standards, and then we find that would allow people to form their own informed decision, and that is the value of that cannot be overstated. When we get a public that is informed about what is supposed to be in their constitution, the way governance is supposed to work, transparency, accountability, those things help to build our democracy.
Duane, Moody for News 5.